Hey guys, welcome back. I wanted to kind of integrate this sex ed episode with some health issues that I've been having and some things I've been having going on that kind of fits in there. So, 3 weeks ago, I was having some issues with my gut and lots of bloating and stuff like that going on, and was just so tired that I could not even get up in the morning. Like, it was just insane how tired I was, and yeah, everything was kind of falling apart. And I went to the doctors, and they said, we'll get your bloods done, that sort of stuff. Your iron's probably just low. And that's kind of all they really said about it. I have previously gone to the doctors for the last 4 months with different kind of things going on that I wasn't happy with. So my contraception, I've been on the contraceptive pill for, well, I don't even know how many years, and I was really believing that it was messing with my mental health. I thought that it was creating anxiety that I was otherwise able to handle, and so I wanted to get off it really and sort my hormones out. And so my doctor agreed to that. She said, let's put you on the mini pill first, get your periods regular. I haven't had a regular period in 5 years probably, due to the pill and due to them not wanting me to have my period because of my mental health being so bad around that time. And so we wanted to get that natural cycle back going and stuff. So I went on to the mini pill. That would have been in March. I did that, and thought it was working relatively well for a few weeks. I got my first 2 periods back. They were pretty short, but they went well, and so I was really stoked with how it was going. However, I was sort of getting quite bad breakouts on my skin from the rise in progesterone in my body, and so I wanted to go off it eventually. So I just waited while my period became regular again, and in that time it became less regular. So I had a 2-day period, and then I had some spotting, and that was about it over the following months after that. So I had 2 normal, then they were kind of turned to shit after that. Went to the doctor, and she said, oh, it's just your body figuring it out. It'll become more regular, don't worry about it. And then over that time, I was becoming increasingly more tired and run down, and my kidneys were struggling. I've had 2 kidney infections. My kidneys were operated on as a child, and so they're not that strong anyway. And then while my body was not running that well, they got worse. And so I went back to the doctors, and that was when I spoke about before that I was there, and she said, I'll give you a blood form, and you can go get some bloods done, and we'll check out what's going on. I didn't get the bloods done. I just got too busy. We've had a lot going on in our personal life and with our coffee shop, and so I just kind of put my health on the back burner while I was trying to get our new shop up and running. During that time, what I didn't realise was that I was pregnant. So I got pregnant. They believe between me stopping my combination pill and starting my mini pill, and I was having to figure out hearing about that, as well as having to deal with my health problems going on. So that was a big shock. I so then went back to the doctors, got some bloods done, found out how far along I was and that sort of stuff. And so over those coming weeks, it all became apparent that my body was not handling it well. I had not planned to have any more children, so that kind of was a bit of a shock, but I'm a believer in what happens, and so was quite happy to go along with having another pregnancy. And then I had my bloods done and my hormones tested and all that sort of stuff, and it became apparent to me that the baby was not healthy and I was not healthy. So I had to fly to Wellington the last week and have a surgical termination, and have my kidneys operated on. So I had to have keyhole surgery for that, and also a surgical termination, which is a lot more full on than just the medical abortion that you would normally have between 9 and 12 weeks. It was incredibly hard for me to say goodbye and to feel like I was doing the right thing. I've had bad postnatal depression after both of my children, which I struggled for many years with, and so that was another factor that the doctors were really concerned about when talking about carrying on with a pregnancy full term. So there was a lot of things going against me. My kidneys shutting down, all my iron was depleted, my gut was becoming really upset and unable to absorb nutrients because of the lack of iron in my body, and everything was slowly disappearing, I guess, becoming less able within my body, including my body. And so I thought that it would be a great way to talk to you guys about the different options you have when you become pregnant. So for a lot of people, abortions are really off the table, and that's totally cool. I was pretty much on that side of things until I had to have one last week. And so I know that it can be quite an isolating time when you don't have anyone to talk to about what you are going through, because that's how I felt. So when you find out you're pregnant, you go and you have a set of bloods done. You go to your doctor. Well, obviously you do a pregnancy test to find out you're pregnant. Then you go to the doctors. You will have your bloods done at a path lab, and then they get sent back to your doctor. She will tell you, that will also book you in a scan, so that you've got a date, and that all happens within a couple of weeks. And when you have had your scan done, then you can decide what your options are from there. So your first scan is your dating scan, and they'll do some measurements, and they can visually see kind of how far along you are by the size of what has grown inside you. And then then you're told your options. So if you decide that you want to keep your baby, you will go and find a midwife, or you can choose to have a doctor as your carer during that time, which then you can go to your GP and have regular meetings with them and checkups, or your midwife will take over. So they can sign you on and be your primary care for while you are pregnant. And then if you decide that maybe it's not for you, there's options. So adoption is an option available in New Zealand to us. We have awesome adoption services. When talking about adoption services, I think that they are quite outdated. They could be kind of updated for the way we live now, but they are relatively good in New Zealand. They always try to match your baby up with a family that they will feel at home with, that is similar to your culture. And if they can, they will, or if you have someone that's willing, you can adopt through family. And so those can be set up for you through your midwife, or through your GP, or through the Ministry of Health. And they have all the information available on the Ministry of Health website, or you can go to your GP and discuss those options with them. There's open adoptions in New Zealand and closed adoptions, so you can have an open adoption where you would see your child still every now and again, and you would organise that with their new parents, how often and when and where, that kind of stuff. Or you can have a closed adoption where you don't know who the family is, they don't know you, and you just have your baby and then pass it over to its new parents. And that is such a brave thing to do in my eyes. I kind of imagine the pain that a mother would have to go through to make that decision for their child. So if you do make that decision, good on you. You're amazing. It would be an incredibly hard thing for anybody to do, whether they were doing it because they couldn't look after it because of certain reasons or not. It would still be hard. The next thing you have available is abortion. So abortion, it's quite simple most of the time, especially when you're within the 9-week bracket. So your first 3 months is just it's a medical abortion. So you will take a pill and that will end the pregnancy. You do that through your family planning. So you still go to your GP. They will refer you to family planning. You'll get a caseworker through family planning. They'll pick you up. They'll give you a call. They're so amazing. The caseworkers that work for family planning and deal with this, kindest people that I've met in a long time. They're really well set up for their job. So they will give you a call and they will book an appointment. So you have to have a phone consultation, or you can have an in-person consultation if you need to. So you do that first. They run you through what happens, all your options again. Make sure that you've got some contraception for after, because they don't want you getting pregnant again. And they set that all up for you. Then you'll go back for your second appointment, where you have your medical termination, which is administered by the nurse there, and then they can also prescribe you with your contraception. They'll do a follow-up, and you're also offered counselling. So they have free counselling available for anybody that's having a termination, and it's usually just 2 sessions, but if you require more, then there's more available. And what happens there is it just stops the heartbeat from your baby, and you have a little bleed, and that's that done. It's quick. It's not painful to anybody involved, you or your baby, and it's a good option for those that just are not ready or cannot have a child currently. I had that option removed because I was over 9 weeks, not far over, but yeah, over 9 weeks, and also because of the lack of iron stores in my body. They were worried about me bleeding, and so it goes on to surgical. So surgical terminations, it's just become legal in New Zealand to have a termination up to 20 weeks. I think they do it a little bit after by induction as well, if there's something really wrong with your baby. But up to 20 weeks, like that's your choice up to there. But it becomes surgical after 16 weeks, I think it is. So you will go to the hospital. There's units in Hamilton, Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, and you have 2 appointments. So you go your first day, you go and you have local anaesthetic. They administer you some medication, and they also give you a I can't remember what they're called, but they're little rods which will naturally dilate your cervix for you, so that they can perform the termination safe and easy. So you do that the day before. Then that evening you have some medication, and then you have the medication again on the morning of, which is the next day. You will go into hospital. You are talked through everything again. Make sure that you're happy with your decision. If there's any complications, they will explain how that works and how they're going to get around that. You'll have a health plan put in place for you, as did I, because of my kidneys. And then they send you into theatre. So you have general anaesthetic when you have that, so you're asleep completely. You wake up after about an hour and a half, and stay in hospital for a further 4 to 5 hours, because they give you syntosis, and that will make sure that you don't bleed, and that keeps you nice and safe. Once they're happy with you and how you've recovered, you'll be discharged, and then there's a follow-up 2 weeks later with your GP, and they will also offer that counselling again and give you a call the following day. I am not really sure what they did with me and my kidneys, so I don't think that I've got enough information to share it all, but I had the choice still to see how I went, but I could potentially have lost me and the baby at any point throughout there. I would have been hospitalised for a lot of my pregnancy and for a lot afterwards as well. And so with their recommendation, I decided that it was best to not put me or the baby through that, and they were happy with that decision. So they were hoping that was my decision. So it was a pretty hard experience. I hope I never have to go through it again. It's not something I would wish on anybody, but I'm feeling so much better a few days after. Still a little bit tearful, as you can tell, but it was one of those decisions that was made for the greater good of everybody later down the track. So I know that there is a lot of opinions around abortions, and especially around it being, available now up to 20 weeks. But what a lot of people don't realise is that it's not for everybody. You have to have a really good reason why you want to terminate up to that point, or from doctor's orders. And I don't think that anybody really is going out there and terminating that late for no reason. I didn't find out until, otherwise I would have had it done straight away, and it would have been a much less full-on procedure than what it needed to be, but these things happen. And it shows that what happens when you are so stressed out and not in tune with your body. I had just been running on empty for months because of our private life and our work situation that had been going on, and lawyers meetings, council meetings, just constant. And so I was not listening to myself and my body and what was going on with it. And that was the biggest lesson that I've learned, is that anytime I feel a little bit off, go and have it checked out, because if you leave it, it can evolve, it can grow, it can get worse, and that's exactly what happened with me. I have definitely learned my lesson. So I hope that I could be a little bit of help with anybody kind of unsure of how our medical system works around when you get pregnant. But yeah, I wanted to talk to you about it all. I will put up our next episode will be on contraception. So I think it's important to talk about what's going on in your body, especially for females, having artificial hormones and stuff like that. So that'll be our next episode. But yeah, I've said on my story on Instagram, if you watch, if any questions or needing to talk about something you've gone through like that, I'm more than happy to talk about it. Please be kind. It's a very sensitive subject for me. Still, I didn't know whether to share it or not, but I thought it could help one person out there, and it could help many more to not feel alone, at least. I will leave it at that. See you next time.